You don't notice the chains when you've worn them your whole life, especially when they're disguised as love. I've always been the dependable one. The rock, as my mom liked to call me. Steady, quiet, never asking for much. Always there when someone needed help moving, needed a loan, needed me. Growing up in a small town in Ohio, it was drilled into me early. Family comes first. No questions, no complaints. Just do your part, and you're a good son, a good brother, a good man. So when my little sister, Jenna, got engaged and started talking about her dream wedding, I didn't hesitate. At first, it was just little things. A deposit on the venue she absolutely had to book right away before someone else grabbed it. Then the dress, then the catering. Every time, she'd flash that excited, pleading smile and say, "Just until Dad transfers his part," or "I'll pay you back after the honeymoon." Mom backed her up every time. "Come on, it's her big day. You know how much this means to her." Dad would add, "You make more than she does, don't be selfish." And I'd nod. Of course. I mean, they were right. I did make more. I'd been saving for years, working long hours as a systems analyst in Columbus. I didn't go on vacations, didn't splurge, didn't complain. My life was quiet, practical. Helping Jenna? That felt like something good, like something that mattered. So I kept saying yes, even when the credit card balances started to climb, even when I had to dip into my emergency fund, even when my stomach turned a little at the thought of draining my savings. I told myself what I'd always believed. This is what love looks like. Sacrifice, loyalty, family. But somewhere, deep down, in a part of me I didn't want to look at, I started to wonder, if I stopped giving, would they still care? It started small. A comment I wasn't supposed to hear, muffled by laughter from the other room during Jenna's bridal shower. I swear, if Ryan shows up in those same sad slacks again. More laughter. My name followed by the word, "bless his heart." You know, that fake Southern sympathy that really means, "what a loser." I let it go. Maybe they were just joking. People joke. Then I saw the Instagram post. A pastel-filtered shot of Jenna holding a champagne glass, surrounded by her bridesmaids. A dreamy caption about making magic happen and gratitude for those who really made this day possible. She tagged her fiancé, the planner, even the florist. Not me. No mention of the brother who paid for half of it. The man who stayed up until 2 a.m. helping her build that ridiculous flower arch she insisted on. I gave myself 100 excuses for her. She was stressed. She forgot. She didn't want to make it about money. But the truth gnawed at me quietly, like a mouse in the walls, scratching just loud enough to keep me from sleeping. Then came the dinner party at our parents' house. Family and a few close friends. One of Jenna's bridesmaids made a toast to the bride and groom, and to the amazing parents who've done everything for this wedding. Everyone clapped. I sat there, my fork frozen halfway to my mouth. Not one person looked at me. Later that night, I heard my father telling my uncle I'd been a bit touchy lately, as if noticing the silence meant I was somehow in the wrong. That night, for the first time, something shifted. Not anger. Not yet. Just a dull ache behind the ribs. Like something precious had cracked, and I couldn't even say when or how. I went home and stared at my reflection for a long time. And for the first time in my life, I didn't recognize the man looking back. The email alert hit my phone at 7:13 a.m. on a Wednesday. Large withdrawal confirmed. I rubbed the sleep out of my eyes, assuming it was a glitch. I hadn't authorized anything over $5,000. Not even close. By 7:20, my heart was racing. Jenna. She had access to my secondary account, the one I'd set up months ago when she asked for just a backup in case of wedding emergencies. I hadn't even thought twice. The transaction history read like a slap across the face. Designer shoes. Custom neon signs. A horse-drawn carriage rental. I called her. No answer. I called again. Still nothing. Finally, I called my mom. She picked up with a cheery, "Hi, honey. Did Jenna just spend over $8,000 from my account?" Silence. Then a cool, clipped, "Ryan, don't overreact. It's all going toward the wedding. I didn't authorize this. That was my savings. We'll talk about it later," she snapped. "Please don't ruin this for your sister." Not now. That phrase again. Don't ruin this. As if I was the problem. As if being stolen from was less offensive than daring to speak up about it. When I finally cornered Jenna in person, she rolled her eyes. "Oh my God, are you seriously mad right now? You're being so dramatic. It's just money. You act like you're some saint for helping. You didn't ask, I said quietly. You just took. She smirked. You're a walking wallet, Ryan. Always have been. I mean, what else are you good for? Then she laughed. Full volume. Like I'd told a joke. That laugh still echoes in my head. But it wasn't until later that night, when a coworker texted me a TikTok link, that something in me broke. There I was. A clip from the bridal shower. Me holding one of the flower arrangements, hunched over awkwardly, while Jenna giggled behind the camera. The caption read, When your brother's the unpaid intern at your wedding of the century, face with years of joy, face with years of joy. 500,000 views. Thousands of comments. I didn't sleep that night. Didn't eat the next day. I stared at the ceiling and wondered how I'd become a joke in my own family. And for the first time, I didn't cry. I planned. I woke up the next morning with a clarity I hadn't felt in years. Not rage. Not despair. Focus. If I was nothing more than a walking wallet to them, a clown in their wedding circus, then it was time to step off the stage. And maybe, just maybe, tip over the tent on my way out. I started with the obvious. I changed all my banking passwords and locked down the accounts. Then I went through every transaction, every email, every message between Jenna and me, documenting everything. Screenshots, receipts, even the TikTok. I backed it up in 3 places. I wasn't going to yell. I wasn't going to beg. I was going to build a case. Then came the cancellations. The venue? Canceled. I still had access to the confirmation email. They weren't happy, but a polite lie about a family emergency did the trick. The caterer? Done. The deposit was under my name anyway. The luxury shuttle buses? Poof. I even emailed the bridal boutique and requested a stop payment on the remaining balance for the dress. One by one, the pins holding the wedding together started to fall. I didn't say a word to anyone. But the part that made me smile, really smile, was the black box. I ordered it anonymously, overnight shipping. Custom work. Big, heavy, and delivered with precision timing. Inside was a full clown suit, red nose, floppy shoes, the works, with a simple sign tied around its neck. The wedding has been canceled. The clown quit. I requested it be delivered the morning of the wedding. Prime time. Let them all figure it out at once. I wasn't angry anymore. Not in the way they thought. I was calm, cold, like someone finally awake after years of sleepwalking through guilt and obligation. This wasn't about revenge. It was about freedom. The morning of the wedding was supposed to be perfect. Instead, the sun rose over chaos. Guests arrived to an empty venue. No flowers. No music. No chairs. A few confused vendors stood around the parking lot, checking their phones and frowning at cancellation emails they apparently hadn't noticed until too late. The groom's parents were the first to lose it, marching around in circles, demanding someone explain why the $30,000 event had turned into a ghost town. My mom was on the verge of tears. My dad was red-faced and furious, waving his phone around as if it could reverse time. Jenna was silent. She stood there in her half-fastened gown, barefoot in the grass, hair only half-curled, staring down the road like she could will this nightmare into not being real. And then the truck pulled in. A matte black delivery van, with no branding. Just one man stepping out, wheeling a towering black box on a dolly. Everyone gathered, murmuring. Confused. Tense. He said nothing. Just opened the latch. Out stepped a clown, full costume, oversized shoes flopping, red nose squeaking with every bounce. People gasped. Some laughed in confusion. Others filmed, of course. Because what else do people do when reality breaks? The clown turned slowly, raised a white cardboard sign above his head, and spun it around. The wedding has been canceled. The clown quit. Silence. Then yelling. Screaming. My mom demanded someone call the police. Jenna collapsed onto a folding chair someone had dragged over from God knows where, mascara streaking down her face. And me? I was standing behind the hedge line, across the road, dressed in jeans, hoodie, ball cap low. Watching. I waited a few minutes, until most of the guests had started to leave, either laughing, bewildered, or cursing into their Bluetooths. Then I walked over. I made it to the edge of the venue space before they saw me. Jenna's eyes locked on mine. She stood, wobbled, marched toward me in her dress, fist clenched. You did this, she hissed, voice low and trembling. I nodded once. I did. You ruined my life. I looked at her, really looked. No. You did that when you decided I was your bank account instead of your brother. Our parents hovered nearby, but I didn't turn to them. I didn't need to. You used me, I continued. Mocked me. laughed at me, turned me into a joke. But today, you learned something important. I took a step closer. The joke's over. And then I turned, walked back to my car, and didn't look back. I drove for 2 days. No GPS, no calls, no music, just the hum of the road and the quiet click of freedom settling into my bones. Somewhere around the Tennessee line, I turned off the highway and didn't get back on. A small town, population barely a few thousand. Hills rolled like a painted backdrop, and the coffee tasted like someone actually cared when they made it. I found a cabin to rent, signed the lease with my real name, and didn't feel the need to explain myself to a single soul. The silence was unnerving at first. No buzzing phone, no requests, no guilt, just me. I quit my job a week later. Clean break. No references needed. I cashed out the rest of my savings, what hadn't been drained by princess expenses, and used it to finally do what I'd always talked about. I opened a little repair shop. Electronics mostly, but anything, really. People brought in old radios, broken phones, once even a jukebox. No one asked about my past. No one needed anything from me beyond the service I offered. And I liked it that way. 3 months in, a letter arrived. No return address. Just my name, written in oddly neat cursive. It was from Jenna's ex-fiancé. I nearly threw it out, but curiosity got the better of me. He wrote about how, after the wedding collapsed, everything came to light. The manipulation, the pressure, the financial ultimatums Jenna had used on him too. She told me if I didn't agree to a bigger venue, she'd tell her parents I was abusive, he wrote. He said he felt ashamed, embarrassed. But mostly, he said thank you. You didn't just save yourself. You saved me. I sat on the porch for a long time after that, the letter heavy in my hands. And for the first time in years, I didn't feel used, or foolish, or weak. I felt whole. I hadn't just walked away. I had broken the cycle. They didn't reach out right away. I expected rage. But for a while, silence. Then, around Thanksgiving, the messages started. First, it was a long email from my mom. We're still your family, Ryan. No matter what happened, blood is blood. Come home for the holidays. Let's talk. Then a letter from my dad. Short, cold, precise. You've made your point. Enough is enough. You embarrassed us, but you're still our son. And then, Jenna. A voicemail this time. Her voice hoarse, forced vulnerability seeping through every word. I'm in therapy now. You really messed me up. But I forgive you. I hope one day you'll do the same. Forgive me. I sat on my porch that night with a mug of strong coffee and reread the notes. Not one of them said sorry. Not one admitted what they did. Every message dripped with guilt trips and revisionist memory. They still saw me as the problem, the stubborn one, the runaway, the traitor. But I didn't feel anger anymore. I felt distance. Like I was watching actors rehearse a play I'd already walked out of. The next morning, I went to the hardware store, bought a small wooden sign, hand-painted the words, and nailed it to the front gate of my little home. Private property, no clowns allowed. It wasn't petty. It wasn't revenge. It was a boundary. I'm not living to prove a point anymore. I'm not punishing anyone. I'm not the family clown, or the fixer, or the forgotten brother with a generous bank account. I'm just living. And for the first time in my life, that's more than enough.